Think the first attack will happen on U.S. soil, and how do you think the U.S. government will respond when it happens?
So, you know what? I said to you guys I was going to share a text with you. Don't say the name of who it's from, though. I told you who it was from. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. I don't have clearance from this person yet to share that they're the source. Okay. But I did tell you guys who the source was just a few minutes ago. I said, remind me, I want to share this text from so-and-so during the break.
Yeah.
This source is a pretty legit source.
Yeah.
Yeah? Right?
Yeah.
Not fly by night or anything of that nature.
Nope.
Been on our show before.
Mm-hmm.
Much of our audience would know who it is.
Right.
Right? Okay. I want to share with you a text he sent me that I saw. He sent me overnight, because he's in a different time zone. And so I saw it first thing this morning. This is not normally something I would do, except for two things: the unprecedented era in which we live and who the person is that sent this to me. This evening, I was briefed by a U.S. Marine Force recon operator and a U.S.-based Israeli Mossad agent. They told me that the United States can expect urban combat and urban assaults to break out as early as the next couple of months, if not sooner. They said that NSA intelligence monitoring is that if anything should happen to Iran by the U.S. and or Israel, there are key cells of jihadists being monitored and that are intending to incite violence in the extreme. The concern is the numbers of people involved, because many are illegal aliens who may not be Muslims, but are united in the overthrow of the U.S. I know this is seemingly crazy, and yet if it wasn't for these two men and their credentials and the fact that I know them, I would not be taking this so seriously. They said that October 7th would pale in comparison to what would come against the United States in this scenario. House to house, neighborhood to neighborhood levels of assault. They advised me personally to stay out of places such as Los Angeles, Santa Ana, San Diego, and San Francisco. Forgive me in advance for bearing such bad news. Again, if I didn't know who this person was, and if I didn't trust this person implicitly, I would not have shared this with you on the air. But I want to go back to something I pointed out a couple of weeks ago. Since 9/11, we have imported 2.3 million people from countries dominated by Islam. 2.3 million. 2.3 million. Let's say we really did thoroughly vet them all. Do you guys think we thoroughly vetted them all?
I do not.
No. But let's say we did. And let's say our hit rate is 99%. Not even mathematically possible. The only people that believe that hit rate is possible believe also that it's possible to have the greatest one-time expansion of mail-in ballots in the history of U.S. presidential elections and have the amount of ballots that were actually thrown out for being filled out wrong, despite that great increase in volume, go down. And weren't suspicious of that at all. First time in human history, a great increase in volume of a process led to more efficiency of said process. It has never happened before, ever. 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 Never happened before. Never, no human enterprise ever in any field until the last election ever saw a great increase in volume of a process, and that increase, a great first time increase in volume of a process, and it led to a more efficient process. We actually had a lower percentage of ballots thrown out for being incorrectly filled out than we had in previous elections. Make sense of that to me. You can't. But just stick with me.
Even the one...
Go ahead.
Even the ones dropped off in the middle of the night?
Even the ones dropped off in the middle of the night in boxes.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't say.
They were all filled out. many cases, uniformly exactly the same. Weird. Anyway, let's say we did thoroughly vet them, and 99% of them we were right about. Just decent people made in the image of God, escaping tyranny, that just want a chance at freedom. So let's say we thoroughly vetted them. We didn't. Let's say we even were right about 99% of them being otherwise peaceful people. They're not. But let's say that's the case. That 1% would represent over 23,000 potential Islamist sleeper cells in the country right now. Just about 20 pulled off the worst attack on our homeland since Pearl Harbor. And really the worst attack on our homeland, if you look at the continental United States, since the Brits burned down the White House in 1812. Just only 20 of them. We're talking about well over 20,000. Let's say we had a 99.999% hit rate. That would mean over 2,300. Over 2,300. If you prorate for population the amount of carnage Hamas caused in Israel on October 7th, if you prorate that into the U.S. population, you're over 50,000 lives. Meaning you would have essentially all the deaths of the Vietnam War, all the U.S. fatalities in the Vietnam War in one day. In one day. One day. This is why James Woods tweeted out over the weekend the comments from Ron DeSantis talking about, if you hate America, we're deporting you. If you hate America, we're not letting you in. If you preach violence and anti-Semitism, we're throwing you out. We're not letting you in. And what did James Woods say? Hey, regardless if we want to support in this primary, every candidate needs to be sounding like this and saying these things. But they're not all saying these things. They're not. One is. He is. I'll let that answer the question and just leave it there.